recognize your face, but I can't put a name with it, young lady.
Are you talking about me in blue?
I'm just talking about you. I don't know anything about blue.
Oh, I'm wearing blue. I didn't know if you meant me or somebody else. I'm Joyce Brenner, Penman.
Hi, Joyce. And
Hey.
do you remember Glenn Leach?
Yes, I do. Hello,
Okay.
Glenn.
Hi.
I'm not sure he would remember me since I didn't graduate from Surrattsville. I left my last 2 years, but maybe.
Well, we remember your name for sure.
Okay, good.
I'm glad. How did you find out about us? Are you on the distribution list?
I'm on the email.
Okay,
I got
wonderful.
the email about the Zoom meeting.
Cool.
And of course, I saw you last when we had our little mini reunion in Florida.
Oh, you mean, what was that at a restaurant, wasn't it?
Ocean Breeze or Sea Breeze in Orlando, I think. And there were about 9 of us there. It was nice.
Yeah, are you in Florida?
I am. I'm in Jacksonville.
Oh, very good. Well, it looks like you guys got a better picture than me because I have light behind me, and I've got a. Let's see. Where's my thing? I got to take myself into my studio here. I'm not following my protocol. Okay, here's my protocol. I'm turning off my camera while I move.
All right.
But I can still hear you. Okay, I'm back.
There you are.
There we go. I got myself a nice tablecloth behind me. 18 bucks. I got a green one for a green screen, but it wiped out my my face for some reason. I turned out to be the Invisible Man. And all of this stuff is a hobby for me. Everybody else seems to have just really good luck. And every time I try something, I screw it up. Are we keeping you up, Glenn?
No.
You seem to be dozing off. I do that. I do that in the afternoon.
Nope, I'm awake.
Great. Joyce Brenner, what's your married name again?
Penman.
Penman.
Yes.
Is that an English name?
No, that's a Scotch name.
Scottish.
My late husband was first generation American, and his
Really?
dad was from Scotland. Mm-hmm.
I'll be darned, Penman.
Yes.
Well, my wife and I both have ancestors that came from Scotland, but way back, in like I guess during the clearances, way back. So, what we did last time, did you see our presentation from last time?
I just saw the pictures you did of who was there. I didn't hear anything. I didn't get any audio, but I got to see. I know you and Glenn were there, and Charlene was there, and a few others. I just got the picture of who zoomed in. Okay.
On the last email that I sent out, I think Monday or Tuesday, on the bottom of the invitation, I put a link to the video chat so everybody could see what everybody else said.
Okay, well, I'll have to go back. I think I still have that. I'll have to go back and see what everybody said.
Okay, and so we're going to put you on the hot seat unless Glenn has something burning to say.
Nope.
So what I asked every participant, I said, you've got 10 minutes to tell us what you've been doing in the past 50 years.
Yeah.
and for you, since you have had the crutch of being able to, but not seeing the other people, you have to go year by year.
Oh, well, I can tell you, I'll tell you a little bit, like an intro or a summary is basically what you're after.
Yeah, a little bio, what are the
Yeah.
high points of your life?
Oh, well, the high points of my life would be my family, of course. I have 2 adult children. My daughter and her 6 children live just north of Jacksonville, so I get to see them. However, my son and his 2 boys are in Dallas, so I don't get to see them quite as often. But so I have 2 adult children and 8 grandchildren. I have lived in Jacksonville. I love it here. I've lived in Florida basically since I graduated from college. Go ahead, take the phone. You okay?
Yeah, I don't know how to mute my mic here, but anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
Oh,
it's okay.
So excuse me, one second. This is good lesson point. Glenn, down on the left-hand corner, there's a microphone under which it says mute.
I'm on an iPad, but I see it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So basically, okay. Basically, I've been a Floridian ever since I graduated from college at Michigan State, with a time in Chicago in between where I was a social worker for 1.5 years.
Oh,
but I have been career-wise, I kind of jumped careers. I went from social work to education. And in education, where I worked for about 30 years, I was a special ed teacher, I was a math teacher, I was a school administrator, vocational evaluator, and school counselor, which for the longest time, I was a school counselor. So that is my career. That's what I did.
Well, wait a minute. I know a little bit about some of those things. So your undergraduate degree qualified you to do all of those things, or did you go along and get master's degrees along the way?
I have been a lifelong learner. I spent 20 years going to college, more or less, to get a master's in counseling, school counseling, Dick. And then I had to go more. I was in the doctorate program to do school administration. Mm-hmm. I was heading towards being a principal, but decided I really did not intend to put in that many hours and have that much stress. So I exited where I could with certification so I could do the job without getting the degree. But I sort of just kept changing my mind and taking lateral moves in education. For one thing, I think having a military background with both my late husband and my dad, I was used to moving every 3 years. So I just kept sort of sidestepping and moving every 3 years in my career to keep things new and fresh. So
what did your husband do that allowed you to?
Navy. This was my second husband. He was Navy career.
Okay.
So I ended up getting my master's here locally at University of North Florida. And I've been very involved with that lately. I'm on the alumni board at University of North Florida, and I work with some of the students that are in the first generation scholarship program. And I had been doing a lot of other volunteer work until we couldn't drive and go anywhere.
What is the first generation
scholarship?
Yeah.
Basically, it's I believe it's a nationwide term, but they are the first students attending college that neither parent is a college graduate. They would be the first generation in their family to get a college degree.
Right.
So I've been doing a little bit of work with that, a little bit of work with my church, and a little bit of work with my sorority, and again, until the pandemic happened, and then don't really go anywhere now. So
what have you been
doing? A lot of yard work now.
Oh, so what have you been doing during the pandemic?
Yard work, for one thing, doing all those little jobs that I meant to do. and our neighborhood looks fantastic because everybody else is doing yard work too. The neighborhoods never look better. So I've been doing that. And actually, I worked a little bit this morning on photo albums. My mother passed about 2 years ago. I guess we're of that age, you know, where our parents are elderly, but my dad went first and then my mom passed a couple years ago. So I inherited a lot of duplicate photos from their photo album. So what I've been doing is doing photo albums, kind of family ancestry, and I plan to do 8 for the 8 grandchildren that I have. So far, I've done 3.
And
so,
are these physical albums or are they digital?
Yeah, they are. They are. I know this younger generation does a lot digitally, but my granddaughter, for example, she's 19, and she takes the physical photographs and loves the book. So I'm doing these actual books, not online. You know, I have Shutterfly and their albums they can have online, but these are physical, tangible. And these go back, these are old pictures that go back ancestry-wise to my great-grandparents and my great-great-great-grandmother. So those are not digital. They could be if I made them, but they're not. So that's what I've been working.
How are you duplicating them to get 8 of each? Let's say you have one of your 3rd great-grandmother that you only have one of. How are you duplicating that?
Take a photo and then go to the store and get a reprint.
Okay. And what kind of physical album are you putting in the little black corners, or you got the fold over sleeves?
I've got the pages, you know, that are, I guess they're acetane or something like that, so that they don't harm the photographs, and they just slide. So they don't require any corners. There's glue on the front of the page, and it catches the photograph.
Right.
So it kind of holds the picture in place, and then this covering goes over the top to kind of keep it in place. Although you can pick it up if you want to and turn the photo over and look at any writing or dates or anything on the back if you would like to. So it's, you know.
Well, are you typing up any explanations about who the person is and where they fit into your family tree? Are you typing that up and putting that in with the photo?
I have some that is typed up, some from Ancestry.com that I had access to that I have typed up that goes back to like 1700. But the others I've just kind of written on either the photograph or on the album page, the dates and the names. And the thing that took me the longest actually was to put these things in chronological order, because I had a lot of pictures going back, you know, a ways. So putting them in order, so to me, I'm very sequential. I wanted them to be in order so that, you know, things kind of flow.
I believe the term is concrete sequential, isn't it?
It could very well be. It could be obsessive compulsive too.
No. No, I find that teachers tend to be people who love to share. And that's, you know, I just love to share. I had a teacher explain that to me too.
Yeah, I think that, and this is my way of telling them about their family history when I'm not around to tell them. The photos will tell them the story. So it's sort of storytelling too. Right. Of course, I get to pick the pictures, which is good. The ones I like go in, the ones I don't like don't go in.
Well, how do you limit, let's say you have 45 or 50 people in your list of ancestors. How do you limit them? How many pictures per person? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
I didn't duplicate exactly 8 of everything. Some I did. Some I'm going to do one for my son and my daughter also, and theirs are going to be different than the grandchildren's. So if the son or the daughter have one book, and then their child, the book for the grandchildren basically narrow in on the grandchildren and their time with me, really. The ancestry ones are going to be for my son and my daughter. And if the grandchild has their individual book of our times together, and they look at the parents' book, which they'll inherit probably, then that will be the one that will go back in time so far. So, you know, looking back, you know, just a remembrance of hopefully good times.
Have you heard of the photo detective?
No, I've not.
She's online, and she is a graduate. She's a librarian turned photo junkie, and she claims to be a photo detective, and she has a website called that, and she holds seminars, and some free and some for a fee. I've attended a few. She got some good ideas, but I don't think her. I think I'm more advanced than she's. More for beginner, intermediate type of student. But she had one phrase that I thought was really good, because I like to put on what do you call them, family reunions. She has this thing called cousin connection, and so the idea is that you start linking up with your cousins and sharing photos digitally, and you find out that they've got stuff that you don't have, and you've got stuff that they don't have, and so you start swapping photos, and it really makes your genealogy work much more alive. And I'm doing the same kind of thing you are. My hobby right now is life writing, and that's autobiographical. And my structure is that I'm got a timeline. It's pretty much like Facebook, right? You got a timeline, pictures, and that sort of thing. People comment on the pictures, that sort of thing. So what I want to produce is a multimedia, what you would call an ebook or an iBook in Mac terminology. And so you can link videos and photos to a particular page. So you got a thumbnail and a narrative, or instead of a narrative, you can have a video and say, this was Grandpa Walker, and then you show a video of, and you could be in front of the camera, you could be behind the camera. You can do it with a cell phone, you can do it with a DSLR, you can do it with a GoPro. I mean, it's amazing what you can do with all this stuff. And I think the other side of the coin was, I'm teaching myself how to do this. So I'm trying to write an article. It's turning into a small pamphlet on how to write an autobiography, basically the mechanics thereof. In other words, you know, collecting the stories, and do you do genealogy first, or, you know, how do you go about it? My cousins, I'm sorry, I'm jumping in on top of your topic here, but it's really fascinating to me. And Glenn, if you have any insights, jump on in, because we've gone into free fold, or what do you call free fall mode. I think 98, couple of my Texas cousins who I didn't know very well, and of course my father was the oldest of 14, so I had a ton of first cousins, and so they put on this humongous family reunion in a gigantic venue. It was a motel with a giant atrium and all that sort of thing. So 8 years later, or 10 years later, I went back and said, hey, let's have another family reunion. Well, I got 35 people. Well, what I did, and I think I did the right thing, So I took my video cameras and audio equipment, and I said, we're going to do two things. We're going to eat and we're going to gab. And our gabbing is going to be interpersonal plus storytelling. And so I set up the video camera, and we photo inventoried and video inventoried each of the 5 remaining siblings and their families. Okay, my father's brothers and sisters. So we've got that, and then we started telling stories. Some children or grandchildren were reading stories written by a grandparent, you know, one of my aunts or uncles. So we got a really broad spectrum. I have on YouTube.
That's interesting.
I have, thank you. I have a YouTube channel with a playlist on it that has 30 short stories, short videos told by my family about our grandfather, their parents, et cetera, et cetera. So the cousin connection, one of the things that I'm trying to do is get my cousins to come on Zoom with me and talk about their parents, so that we honor and remember each of my aunts and uncles.
And you have to get that information before it's lost.
Well, that's the whole idea. You do the cousins first.
Yes.
And I've picked up on, I have one aunt and one second cousin who spent 20 or 30 years doing hand visitation type genealogy, you know, before Ancestry got real big. And so they gave me a bunch of stuff, and I started building on that. And Ancestry is so cool because you put up a bunch of names and they go, oh, here are all these documents that we found for a person by that name and that location. And they're basically doing it for you. So all you got to say, nah, that's the wrong person. Or, hey, that looks interesting. That's interesting. I mean, we got things like, of course, you get census records, you get death records, you get gravestones, you get birth records sometimes. Sometimes they're just a printed list with a name on it, but it tells who the parents are. And then you get things like, trying to think of what you would call it, draft records. And you pick up all kinds of death certificates. Death certificates have a lot of information on it. I didn't realize that. Marriage certificates, and then you can combine that with your visiting type genealogy. Anyway, I could go on for hours.
No, I haven't spent a lot of time on Ancestry at all, but I plan to. My nephew did a lot of that already, so he shared what information he had. So I have the benefit, I guess, of his research. What was neat at our last reunion in July was he was talking about the DNA results that he took, you know, with the family, I guess, predisposition to different diseases and things. And I thought that, yes, I thought that was fascinating.
Is that part of is that part of Ancestry's DNA report?
I don't know if it's Ancestry or if it's just you know, the other product that they do with the 26, you know,
23andMe or
23andMe. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how he went about it.
Yeah,
but that was very interesting.
Do you know anything about that, Glenn?
You kind of know how you might depart.
Yeah. I was asking Glenn, do you know anything about that DNA business?
Well, I mean, I know you can tell a lot from a person's genome, but I'm not sure what the commercial systems are, the products out there. You know, I've heard, but I'm not sure what they get you. But
yeah, well, the basic theory is that when you have a DNA and you have certain, I guess your certain genes cluster or are marked for inheritance. And so I don't know that the genes for eye color, might be part of that, but who knows? But the idea is that you want to see if you can marry up the genome comparisons with somebody's paper research. So if let's say I have a connection with somebody who might be a third or fourth cousin, and we can see through our own research, physical or digital, that we share a common ancestor, then the one who has more hard copy research can share that with the person with less information. So you can expand your how should I say it? Well, I'll give an example. After about the third or fourth generation, there's of genealogy, they got a name, Dr. Donald S. Walker in Southern Maryland, moved to the Eastern Shore. Well, we've got his name, his dates, where he was, but I can't prove that he's an ancestor of mine. I mean, he doesn't have any DNA to share with me, so we can't prove it that way. So we have to go through documents. Well, we don't have him on a Census Bureau. I can't build a chain between James Walker and well, the next Walker up. I can see that as a father-son type of arrangement from a Census Bureau or a death certificate or a will or something like that. But if there's no paper connection between, Bertrand Walker and the next guy up, we're just guessing. So it kind of peters out when you get into the, after the 1800s, the census. When was the census? 1790 started, something like that. And not everybody was on it. So you get earlier than that, it's really hard to prove anything. So you're guessing.
Yes. Yeah.
So, but it's fun. The real difficult thing here is when you're doing genealogy, like my family, my father had 13 brothers and sisters, and I think he had 2 uncles and 2 aunts or something like that. That group spreads. It spreads fast. I got so many, cousins, second, third, fourth cousins. I can't do all that research,
It's exponential.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I was trying to I was using my mouse over here to get rid of a pop-up ad. Well, we've gone 31 minutes here, so we've got a few more minutes to go. I've been hogging it a little bit because I got excited, but do you have anybody got anything else you want to share? Glenn, you came back. How come you came back? Want to see who showed up?
A lot of it last time. I got right on. I didn't. It took me like 30 minutes to get onto the site last week.
Oh.
But yeah, I don't know why it was so hard. But today it was right on.
Good. Good.
Shot.
If anybody wants to do their own, hosting, I don't have any stake or claim to this Thursday thing. It's just that if you chose another time, that'd be cool. I'll come, but if you decided to do Thursday at 4:30, I wouldn't be there to support you. But if you have a group of people like Glenn, you like sailing, you might get a hold of Chuck and Jimmy Perry and John Lark and all the other sailors in the class, you know, and share your sailing stories, your sea stories. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Now, if nobody had shown up today, I wasn't prepared to do this, but I would sit here in the dark, so to speak, and then when I go to do the I wouldn't tell anybody. I said, well, nobody showed up, but I'm gonna share with you some of the obituaries of the class in the past. So I think I'm gonna have to be prepared to do that if nobody shows up. We'll have a featured dead person.
Well, I'll go back and read your little summary, the comments from last time, and I'll find out what I missed.
Well, it's not a written thing, it's a video.
Yeah, well, I can hear that.
Yeah, you can hear Glenn give his impressive story, and John Lark gave his impressive story. It was really a great beginning.
Well, I have a question about one of the Hornets. Have you had any contact in recent years with Beth Bromley, for example? Beth Bromley Hunt, I believe it is now. Yeah,
go ahead, Glenn. You know.
I don't know, but I did go to the 50th reunion we had in Ocean City. Wasn't that 50th? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if she was there or not. Were you there?
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah,
I was there, and the Commander Hotel. On the boardwalk. Beth Bromley, the best of my recollection, went into the computer industry, and I don't know if she was a programmer or what, but it was a pretty, I guess a pretty specialized area. I don't know what she was programming, but I think she was doing some pretty high level languages. I struggled with HTML and cascading style sheets and stuff like that. I'm just not real good with languages. But anybody else you're curious about?
Well, I did touch base with Marvin Hays. You remember Marvin? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He's deceased now, I believe. Isn't he on our list of deceased people?
Couldn't tell you right off the top of my head.
I think so.
I think
so. Yeah, but he contacted me, one or the other, years ago through Facebook, and come to find out, he had been in the military and lived in Jacksonville the whole time I was living in Jacksonville. And, then when he retired, he and his wife and family moved about an hour out of town, out of Jacksonville. Mm-hmm. But anyway, it was nice to touch base with Marvin. Yeah. I would love to connect with Beth because we spent a lot of time in high school together, but cool. We'll see what happens.
I believe, what part of town are you in? North, south, east, west?
I am between downtown and the beaches. I'm eastern. Okay. Yeah, East Jacksonville.
Eastern side. Okay. Okay. Romola Milner is up there.
Oh, I know Romola. Yes.
Yeah, she's up there. She has a hearing problem, so if you talk to her on the phone, you have to be very patient because she's had struggles with that.
Okay. Well, she and I rode together. We drove together when we went down to that mini reunion, that Florida reunion that I was thinking about. She and I rode together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, super. And I'm trying to think of who else is up there. I got some military friends that live there, some former neighbors up there. I think Linda Hogg, didn't she ride with you guys?
No.
Linda Hogberg?
No, she was there. I remember meeting with her and had a chance to talk to her. It was delightful. But no, we didn't ride together.
Yeah. I have a feeling that she's lives somewhere in between Tampa, Orlando, and Jacksonville. That's my impression. I never looked her up.
Okay.
And
okay.
So, do you guys have, if we have small groups from now on, do you feel like this is beneficial enough to continue, drop in on a Thursday afternoon and have a chat? It's good for me. I'll be here, but you might be able to get some of the people that you want to talk to join us, and we'll give you the floor.
I think it would be good if there were, more participation. That's the key.
Well, I don't think, let's put it this way. I've done enough family reunions, military reunions, and that sort of thing. And you can only talk to one person at a time.
Yes.
And if you're in a venue like this, you got to be a good listener.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to be quick enough to, stop talking and then let the other person talk and that sort of thing. So if you get more than last one we had was 16 people. And
wow.
what we had to do was give the floor to one person and say, okay, what was your military career and post-career like? What did you do? And so we went around this sort of round robin, and everybody else just said, hey, that's cool. Now, I like to record this in gallery mode so that the speakers can be seen and the listeners can be seen. So that way I can see, you're both nodding your head like you understand what the hell I'm saying,
Yeah,
and if I say something funny, okay, everybody laugh now, so I'm going to take a picture. So, there's ins and outs. I think having a really big group, let's say if we had a whole class meeting, getting 140 people on here would be tough. So then we'd have to have individual sub-hosts who would take what do you call it, a meeting room, and people would divide up and go to different meeting rooms, and then you could switch around. But I think short is sweet, and I think personal is sweet.
Yeah.
And I love to hear people's biographies. It's fabulous and fascinating.
Well, thank you, Dick, for setting this up and allowing us to reconnect.
Well, it's my pleasure.
Very interesting, but stupid.